Good evening, everybody. Today we're going to be reviewing Wednesday, January 15th, 2025. I'm just going to be reviewing all the trades we took. We had an amazing day. We took 7 trades and we had 5 of them being winners. Amazing day. We made a little bit over $20,000, the 21,000 minus commission, whatever. So it came out just a little bit around $20,000. I'm going to be reviewing all the trades, basically explaining all my thoughts, even though I explained it in real time in Discord, live with you guys for free. As you guys can see here, I basically took every single trade with you guys. I would explain, when I take it, my stop, I'm adding more, what I'd be looking for, even though I didn't get it, etc., etc. So every trade was basically just given live. I just wanted to give a little brief. Most of us ended red, or 75% of you guys ended green. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm a little bit sick right now, but we had a great day. So basically, I'm just gonna be reviewing all the trades today. We're gonna be doing it in replay mode. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So I missed the first hour and a half because CPI, there was some type of data. I don't really care. I just know the market's moving bullish, so I usually tend to skip the first hour, and come back when the market's a little bit slower and it's a little bit settled. If we're going up, then I'll probably look for a dip to buy. If we're go flushing down, then I'll probably look for a dip to short. A pop to short, sorry. So we had data, we popped, and I'm now just looking for a trade to take. At this point here, I'm probably looking for a move up to 412, then for a pullback back down to around 380. So somewhere right here where I'd ideally take a long. So I get in a trade there. I get it in at 380 right there. And as you guys can see on Discord, I say a long 80 with a 70 stop, so I'm risking around 10 points. So my stop is just a little bit under right here. So if we draw a line, oops, it's whatever, it's right here. So yeah, we're gonna take that off. Okay. Anyways, let's go ahead and see what will happen with the trade. So trade's kind of working so far. As long as we're kind of holding over this green box, we're kind of good. Under the green box is where I will stop out. So right there, under the green box where I stop out. And it goes and it dumps, and the trade does not work. So at this point, I am still kind of looking for a long. Maybe I was a little bit early there. I'm thinking if I can get along around this 350 area where it keeps bouncing here, here, here. So let's move this box somewhere like that. We had this resistance as well. We had support. We have the 100% extension. I'm thinking anywhere in this green box, somewhere around this 350 would be great. So we come down, we test the green box, I take a long, and my stop is just a little bit under this wick right here. So if we just put a box like that, my stop is basically right under this wick right here. It's at 345. I'm just gonna about 10 points, give or take. And we just literally just go fly up. And yeah. And the reason why I sold here was just because of this resistance right here. So seller, seller, seller. We know we have an area right here. So if we draw this box like that, like that. So we know if we have a seller like that, we know in this area there's some sellers because we had a bunch of resistance here. We already tested it, we failed. So I'm just looking to sell somewhere in this area. I'm still looking for longs in this area though. So I'm thinking if we can retest this 350 area again, since we had a really strong reaction, I'm thinking we could possibly, go for another long in this area with the same stop down here. If you guys have watched my other recaps, you guys like to know I like to take the same trades at the same areas if they come back. So I'm just thinking if we can come back down here, I'm interested in taking a long again. So I go in for a long right there, and my stop is just a little bit under here, so it's near 335. So I'm just buying myself some room since it went under this wick. I'm buying myself around 10, 15 points, give or take. And there's still buying demand in this area. We can see how they're still holding. It didn't come from a stop. It was pretty close. It was around 2 points away from my stop. My stop was at 334, 335. So it's 2 points away. But I see it hold this demand area. So I basically just get in again. Except this time, when I add more, My risk is now less on this trade. So this one still has the same constant risk, but my second edition, which is basically like a whole new trade, has a lower risk with the same exact thesis. So as if I got stopped out on this one, and I basically just got back in, except now I'm just double the size. With the same trade. So I take half out at 370. Just because I'm in a pretty big position at this point, I don't want to hold it just in case it comes back. I'm in double my size here, so just for risk management purposes. And I'm thinking, okay, the second half I'm trying to hold for somewhere between 80 to 90. Somewhere in this box right here, I am looking to sell. Oops. Okay, well, whatever. Somewhere in this box right here, I'm looking to sell. And if it comes back down, I will stop out just a little bit above break even, a few points above, just so it doesn't come all the way back down. Because if you notice, we kind of have this trend line down. I'm not saying I trade trend lines, but what I'm saying is we kind of have this trend line like you kind of see going with this support. So if we come back down here, we could possibly just flush down. I'm not really interested in holding my position like that. But if we rip up, that'd be nice. So we come back down and I just get stopped for 4 points profit, 5 points profit. And I'm perfectly okay with it because even though it could go back up since it's a demanded area, I don't like it retesting this area too many times because the more times it tests on here, it could just eventually fail. Making the big high here, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, same seller stepped in again. So the more we keep testing this area, it could just build pressure and then boom, all of a sudden crack down. So at this point, I'm not really looking for longs anymore. I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens, especially after the flush, which is the reason why I got out here because I anticipated this flush coming. And this pump was a Fed speaker, so there was some federal guy speaking, whatever. I don't take a trade for another 20 minutes. But I just see it holding this area. So the first thing I notice here is, okay, so we're kind of making this base right here, right? As if we want to go higher, but we're struggling to go higher. Every single time we try to go higher, we fail. We failed here, we failed here, we failed here. What do we think happens here? If you just had to guess. So I have this zone like this. Like this. So I have this sell zone right here. Because every single time we go to this area, we fail. And I'm thinking, okay, I could take a short somewhere between 65 to 70, and I'll start right above 80, right? Or 75, whatever. I'm risking 10 points. And if it works, I could take it all the way back down to 325. Because we have this, kind of trend line down, even though we kind of broke with this candle. I like to short really strong impulses up because I found just through my trading that really big pushes or really big dumps tend to get retested right back. And the thing is that we pumped right into a big resistance. Not like if we broke above 75, I probably wouldn't have taken a short. But the fact that we struggled at the same exact area that we went to 3 or 4 times before, it was a really good risk reward trade to take. So here's what I do. So I take a short and it just dumps instantly. Like within 1 minute here, we could recap that back. I'm gonna slow this down so you guys can see what happened. Okay, so I take a short since I saw this red candle, and I put my stop right above here. And it just dumps instantly. There's not the trade kind of just worked. It's pretty self-explanatory. Shorted resistance, it came all the way back down to my support area. I could have held some, so it could just in case it broke that 319, but I've been having a good day, so I've just been trying to secure the gains and not let them, kind of slip away from me. So one thing to note is that you see how it kept making these lower highs, right? It rejected this, and now it rejected that. The opening range 100% extension. So instead of going all the way back up to 65 again, it just rejected 50, which means sellers came in earlier than usual. Instead of waiting to all the way to 65, sellers became more aggressive, and they sold at 50. And they broke this pretty big support at 20. So at this point here, I'm thinking, okay, I still like this for a long to take it like a little bit higher, but I'm not interested in taking at the opening range high. It's a bit too early. We just started dumping. Maybe if we go near the opening range mid or near the opening range low is where I'd be taking it long, but it's all still based on what it does. I'm just predicting that we could maybe slow down a little bit near the opening range mid or the opening range high, but I am not taking a position yet until it slows down just a little bit. We see it slowing down a little bit. So at this point right here, I'm starting to get interested in getting in a position. But I'm just kind of waiting for it to truly tell me that it's a bottom by just making a bigger base right here. So I see it try to flush down and it doesn't. It's not able to flush and it comes right back up. So I get in hoping it kind of flies back um to like this 320 area with a stop just a little bit under this wick right here. The trade's kind of working, but it's not. It's stalling. What I don't want to see is I do not want sellers to come in at 85. We're kind of seeing the same thing that happened here. Sellers, instead of waiting to come all the way up here, now they're pressing down here at the opening range high, which means sellers are basically becoming more aggressive. So at this point, I was thinking it's gonna break out, and it just flushes. It barely holds, and it comes right back and it flushes, and I end up stopping out at 65. Um, So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, we could either flush under the opening range mid and go back to the opening range zone and just retrace the whole move all the way back down, or we could bounce back up, hold this area, and go back up. It's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if we can hold this opening range mid area and just go right back above 70, I'd love to take this for a long, and this would be considered just like a wick on a bigger time frame. So I am open for a long as long as we're over 70. If we're under 70, this could go back down to 220. I'm not really too interested. I just want a reclaim of this big support. So we get a really nice good reaction off the opening range mid. We basically go right back up. So I try for a long again, and my stop loss is now right under the opening range mid at 50. Or I believe it was 45. I'm sorry. Yeah, I believe it was 45. I don't really remember. Let me check. Yeah, so if you see here, I entered long 270 and my stop was 255. So my stop was basically like right under these wicks right here. And I forgot to recap the trade. And I mean the trade's just basically working itself. If we notice, it's kind of just consolidating. It's not going back to under 255 anymore. It's consolidating. We get a big burst up. And what I'd love to see here is the trade holding the 75, the previous resistance area that we couldn't break above. So you see seller, 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 seller. Now we just broke above and we held it on the retest, which signifies that buyers came back. And now I'm looking for a move back up to this 320 area, possibly, somewhere like right here. So anywhere in this area, I would be very grateful up to the, like 307 to 320 in that area. So we get this pump, and I sell on the breakout right into my big resistance zone. And the reason why I had this as a zone is you can see how this is basic resistance becomes support, support becomes resistance. So this was support, now becomes resistance, now becomes resistance again. So I'm thinking anywhere near this 20 to 10 area, we could start seeing some sell-offs, maybe back down. I was just looking for a quick scalp. I'm not looking for a move all the way back up. We had a nice 30, 40 point move trade there. So I'm thinking, okay, I just got my move back in the same resistance area. I'm happy. And let me show you guys the 5-minute chart. So the 5-minute chart was looking like this. We had this demand area, the same demand area that you guys see here. And this was the 5-minute chart. So we see the lower wick here and having a hold of 70. And when it started working, the trades started setting up like this with the lower wicks. So it looked beautiful for a curl up into our big, 310 to 320 resistance area. And then we get the burst up. So that was basically one of the last trades I took. I took one more trade, but it was near the close. So as you guys can see, we started selling in the same area I was talking about. Um, you know, support becomes resistance. So this was support, becomes resistance again. I could have, I guess, taken a trade near this 300 here. So since I was making a higher low, and try to target somewhere near this 350 to 365. Remember, we still have a resistance level near this 365 area. So don't forget that. So somewhere in this area, we still have some resistance from the previous sells. Remember when we sold here, shorted here. And we go back into our box. We reject our box again. We're making this, nice little base in the box, and we just start ripping up. It's kind of dead. There isn't really that much volatility, maybe 20, 30, 40 point moves. I'm not really looking for anything major. We're up already really nice on the day. We're up almost 100 points, or maybe a little bit more than 100 points. So from this trade right here, from this trade right here, this trade, and this massive short right there. So all these trades really just do add up. This is like 30 points, 20 points, maybe another 20, and then there's like 37 right here. So it all adds up really quickly. So this all is 60 points, I believe, or 64 points. And then this is like 34, 37, something like that. Almost 40 points on this trade. Coming along from 70 all the way up back into the resistance. And at this point here, I'm thinking, okay, I could possibly take this long somewhere here. But I'm not really, too interested in it. I'm kind of just taking it easy. Maybe we get a massive squeeze into the close. Maybe we don't. But in hindsight, I should have taken this trade right here as a long and have a stop like a little bit under these wicks. I'm risking 10, 15 points and target maybe new high day. But I did not do that. But those two were really good trades. They were my setups. I was kind of done. I already hit my daily target. I'm up to $20,000. I don't need to keep trading anymore. At some point, you just have to say enough's enough. That's how we just inevitably just give back all of our profits. The more you keep clicking, the higher risk you have. So at this point right here, I'm thinking, okay, so this is about an hour. There's about an hour left in the close, and I see it consolidating, trying to hold this dip. So we made new highs, and we pulled all the way back, and I'm seeing it hold this, 200% extension, basically this old resistance right here. If we look at the, bigger time frame, this was a resistance zone that's now becoming support. So if we draw a little rectangle, something like this, right, where we had this previous high day and the previous resistance where we had a massive breakout. I'm just basically buying the breakout retest. I buy it on the first green candle I see, and then I see consolidating, so I buy it again. So what I do differently on this trade is I have a 10-point stops on each, so they're not both at the same stop. So this one has a stop at 404, and this one has a stop at 400 since I bought at 410 right here. So this one has a different stop than this, but a little bit barely under. What I'm looking for right here is just a breakout to the upside. So, we're kind of making this dip. Just as long as we keep going up, we should be good. And as long as we hold this resistance, previous resistance now turned into support at 400, we should be looking good. Trade's working, and all of a sudden we just get this massive red candle spike. At this point, I'm not really interested in moving my trades or anything. I already have my stop set. One of my stop is at 404, so just a little bit under this candle right here at the beginning of this breakout. And the other one's at 400, so basically in the middle of this candle, which is pretty far, but it's only really 10 points. So I unfortunately get wicked out on the first position, and now I just have my second position, and they're both equal size as well. It doesn't go to 400. It holds the same 404 level that we got stopped out on, and I still have my other position open from right here. But at this point, I'm like, okay, that's fine. I got stopped out on half. I still have my other half. It's looking great. As long as we kind of hold this, green box area, we could just squeeze up higher. As long as we hold this, blue to like all this area right here, we're looking real good. As long as we hold this, we should be fine. And I'm kind of just looking for an end of day squeeze. So we're starting to get real nice moves here. And we come back down. I'm like, okay, we might just stay in this whole range into the close. There's about 30 minutes. There's about an hour left. 57 minutes left. Um, Not really a fan of this anymore. I wanted a breakout fast, so if this, could have had a breakout, would have been a fan. At this point, I'm just trying to get out break even, so I lost 10 points on this first one. Maybe if I just make 10 points on this one, and I basically don't lose anything on this trade. I make 10 points on half, lose 10 points on the other one. I walk out risk free. I took a trade, I didn't lose, and I had the chance to make money, so I'm not mad overall. It would have been not. I could have made money on this, but not mad that I would break even. So I just end up making 11 points on this trade, and I lose 10 on this, so I end up basically breaking even on this trade, which sits fine with me. As long as I don't lose anything while taking a trade, that's perfectly fine. It's basically risk free if you think about it. And I don't think the market ends up going higher. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, so it ends up holding this area. It goes up a little bit higher, makes a new high. I believe it ends up flushing. So I did kind of miss out on this one, but it did look like this was kind of forming some type of bear flag with this massive red candle. So I just, and especially since there's 30 minutes to the close, I was like, all right, whatever. I could just get out unscathed, keep my $20,000. I don't have to lose anything. I don't have to give anything back. And there's always some weird action to the close, so I'm just not interested anymore. Note the same balance area, and we just get a massive spike to the close. And the market's closed. So yeah, that was basically the trading day. Very simple, very straightforward. Most of the trades worked. Almost 5 out of 7 worked actually. I skipped the first hour. So let's do a really quick recap. I long this because of just looking for a trade to go higher off this support right here, kind of holding this area, this breakout retest to go higher, off this, 400. It ended up not working. I noticed that there's I try again near the 350 where there was bigger support right here, and it ends up flying up, and I sell near the resistance area. It comes back down to the same exact area. I try again and it works. I sell at this resistance area. I just sell my other half, few points, a little bit under break even, and then I see some resistance being in the same area. So at this point, I'm noticing that the market's now going higher. Every dip is basically failing. We had this dip that failed, this dip that failed. I mean, it's bouncing, but it's not making new highs, or it's not showing strength, and it's making newer lows. So lower highs, lower lows. So this is not looking good. So at this point, I'm like, okay, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. It's kind of making this little base here, but there's a lot of sellers in this area. Seller, seller, seller. So I'm thinking, okay, we get back to this, box here, and I could short it with a stop right above these wicks right here at 76 or 80 or something. And we end up going right back down. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, we're still kind of a little bit bullish. It kind of try along here. It doesn't work. And then it tests the opening range mid and it bounces. So I take it long again with a stop a little bit under this wick right here. And we end up going back to the same resistance area that we kind of rejected from right here. Basically, just a seller initiation. Sellers came here, so I expected them to come here again. And we kind of just slowed down in this area, as you could tell here. And I skipped all of this action because I usually like to trade off a big dip or a big bounce. Here is just a slow grind up. It's not my type. So we make a big move up and we come back down. I try to buying the dip, stop down on half, make the other half break even, and the day ends. Really beautiful day, really simple. I hope this recap helped. I know it doesn't look great on the chart. It doesn't look super sexy. I know I didn't buy the bottom and sold the top. I didn't short here and covered here. I didn't short here and covered here. So, but this is my style of trading. This is what works. I just take quick 30, 40 point scalps, and on size, this is where this works for me. So every person is different. Every trader is different. You gotta find out what works for you. But I am here teaching you my style, and you are more than welcome to learn it if you want. All the trades were shared live, as always, live in Discord for free. As you guys can see here, long 270, 255 stop loss, flat 307. So basically this trade right here, and was doing chart updates, giving it from the beginning to the end. Looking to go long to 414, which is this trade right here. And then I bought some more, 412. I bought 10 more at 410 right here. So I bought more, and then just basically every single trade given live shared with you guys. Here to share and help my style. I hope this recap helped. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop them down in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this recap, please like and comment down below what you guys want to see next. I'm here to help all of you guys out. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. Take care, everybody.